we've demoed a very early version of this before, of basically the search-based navigation in the CLI, but now we've implemented it in the UI, and we've actually just released it just like a few, like 10, 20 minutes ago. So you can publicly use it from the UI when you log into Pixie. So the basic idea, I'm gonna stop sharing the screen. Oh, sorry, I just don't know how to use Google Slides. Okay, I just need to exit that. Okay, so the basic idea is that navigating to seeing the data that you want is usually very, very complicated. So for example, if you wanted to look at the stats for a particular pod, you might have to go into your workloads on GKE, you have to click into the specific server that you want, and then from there, you can finally look at all the pods you have, and then finally click into the pod that you want, and then look at the data from there. And that was just a ton of steps, and that's always super annoying when you probably have an idea of what you want to look at already in your head. So I'm going to switch over and show you our autocomplete experience. Okay, sorry, I clicked the wrong thing. Okay, so now we have up here.
Shao,
are
you sharing?
Yeah.
Oh.
Exactly. Same thing.
Oh, sorry. Okay, I thought I was sharing. Maybe I stopped sharing when I stopped sharing this slide. Let me share again. Here, let's do our service edge stats again. And we can see let's see, the API service. I guess I chose PLC staging, so we can do our staging cluster. The API service talks to the auth service, and then it helps you fill out those arguments for that script. And then yeah, now we see some more interesting data. Okay, great. So that you can actually try out yourself and just play around with it. I wanted to talk a little bit about how this is actually implemented. So I'm going to present again. Can everyone see like the full version of my screen?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Okay, so the idea here, it may be a little bit small, but everything starts in the metadata service, which talks directly to the Kubernetes API. And in the metadata service, we basically resolve all these entities. We figure out which pods belong to which service automatically, so you don't have to go in and tag anything. It just figures it out. It tracks, when pods terminate or when pods are in a bad condition. And then basically we send all of that data to our cloud, where it ends up at the indexer service, which just makes sure that it receives the updates in a good order and then starts indexing that data in Elastic. So in Elastic, we store a bunch of information such as related entities, and we store like just name and then allow the GraphQL API to just query Elastic. And basically we can, using the related context, that we can figure out, which suggestions to rank above others. Cool, so that feature is now in, and if people can try it out and just give feedback, that would be great.
Cool, let's pause there. Any questions, folks? Zen, you can talk about like what's coming next in terms of like the ranking and capturing local context.
Sure, I can take that. So basically, part of what we've been trying to do is switch Pixie to use this like entire like command-driven navigation, right? We want to go through and have an experience where you can type in Command K or Control K if you're on Linux, and be able to find like the worst pod in the service or whatever. So part of what we're trying to do is essentially build a like search graph where we keep track of all the information about here are like the worst entities, here's the ones with the most traffic, and also using some more of like, which we'll talk about a little bit later, but some more like machine learning and like inferencing to be able to categorize different types of messages. And part of what we're going to land up with is this entire system where you can just use like Command K to just like navigate through most of the important screens in the UI. So I think right now, like the suggestion systems are pretty rudimentary. Like a lot of it is still like string based with some information about related entities, but we want to move to a place where it's all based on the metadata that we collect, along with summaries of the actual data.
Cool. Michelle, Rupak has a fun question for everybody else. Like, how do you trigger that search again? Two things. One is if you kind of reshare your screen and show the PX button, that would be helpful. The other one is this is behind a feature flag. So right after this call, we'll make it live. Right.
I think Michelle actually flipped the flag.
So, she did? Okay, cool. So folks who have this,
Michelle's
Rupak,
also on
right,
mute.
you should be able to see it. Michelle, you're on mute.
So the first thing I do is namespace / and that's how I find the pod. That's where I was confused. Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, you can also just type in the pod and it should work. Maybe the search is like overly picky about it.
So just to recap, folks, you hit the PX button and click on that.
You can click on that or hit Command K. It should open to the same thing.
And then you just start typing for the responding and requesting service, or like the, could you just go over it again? Sorry.
Oh, yeah, of course. So let's say that we want to start with the script first, then you can start typing, and it gives you a list of suggestions. So at the top, it might give you some scripts that match what you're typing, or if you scroll to the bottom, it can also show you some of the relevant entities that you might want to start with. So in this case, we want to start with the script. And then so from here, it starts helping you fill out the arguments of here. So then now we'll start showing you, now that it knows that this argument should be a service, it might start showing you some relevant services, and you can just select them if you want. And then it will start helping you fill out the next argument as well. So I think I just chose 2 services, which probably don't actually have data between each other, but that is the basic idea.
That's only for like service edge stats actually takes 2 services.
Right.
In other cases, you might just have a single service, right? So if you type in, just pick some random service, Michelle.
Right. So if I just choose the API service, for example, then it might show me some scripts that could be relevant to that service that I've just chosen. So service stats, and I can complete that command and then run it.
Cool. All right, that was awesome. One last point I wanted to add was that we've heard a lot of feedback around folks not wanting to manually tag service names. There are a few people on the call who've reached out to us, and so the entity names are all received from the Kube API, and we resolve all the entities that we discover. So the idea is so that over time you don't have to kind of manually track service names, and the system kind of builds this knowledge graph for you. All right, excited to get your feedback, Rupak. We can see you're trying it out. So more folks use it, the better. This stuff is something that we'll have to like refine and iterate a fair bit. So so the next topic is